I watched the documentary Horror Noir, A History of Black Horror on Shudder, and was rather disappointed. It was filmed in 2019 and is based on a 2011 book, but you can tell that they mainly only included horror films in which they could get a black actor or writer or director from the movie. They left out dozens of great actors in films, such as Danny Glover in Saw and Predator 2, Wesley Snipes in the Blade series, Grace Jones in Vamp, Ving Rhames and Mekhi Phifer in Dawn of the Dead 2004. The more I started to think about it, they left out almost all the black actors who have been in numerous cosmic horror films that also happen to be some of the most iconic films in cinematic history. And these aren't minor actors. They left out some big box office, award-winning, huge names. The gap they left is rather insulting. So I have created a list of the top 10 black actors in cosmic horror films. I'm going to start off with an honorable mention, but it's more a cult killer film, unless you want to include Jesus Christ as cosmic horror. But regardless, this film should have been included in the documentary. Morgan Freeman in Seven. I know people like to consider it a thriller or a crime drama, but it belongs in the horror category, and we're taking it. Number 10. This first gentleman only has a small role, but it is in what many consider, myself included, to be the best cosmic horror film ever made. And he survives. I'm talking about Bernie Casey in The Mouth of Madness. Plus, he is in the most quoted scene. Number 9. Now, I'm putting this one at the bottom of the list because I know some of you will argue with me about it, but let me read you the description of the film. The dead are rising from the grave and terrorizing the city at the behest of an alien god and its interdimensional monster servants. Sounds very Lovecraftian, right? Well, it's none other than Ernie Hudson in Ghostbusters. I will fight you on this one. And let's not forget his role in Spacehunter Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. Number 8 is not this actor's best work, but it was successful at the box office, and there are still quite a few fans. Even though it's been called an alien ripoff plus boobs. Number 8 is Forrest Whitaker in Species. Number 7 will be a Stephen King double. The first is Andre Braugher in The Mist. Now, he does die in the film, but it's not because he is black, it's because of the role of the character. He plays the voice of reason, the one trying to calm down the panicking mob. And as you know, in any horror film, but especially in a Stephen King horror film, the voice of reason characters always get wasted. And the second one is the first film of a series that will probably never get finished. You can argue about the crossover genre of this one, but the basic description is a boy goes to a parallel dimension and tries to stop an evil warlock from opening the gates of hell. The book contains several alien monsters, but I don't recall the movie having very many, if any. It's been a while since I've seen it. But I'm talking about Idris Elba and Dennis Haysbert in The Dark Tower. Number 6 is another from the greatest cosmic horror director of all time, John Carpenter. This is a much more subtle film, and some will say it's not even horror. But that's where they always had it in those ancient temples of Blockbuster Video. And it is a good companion piece along other sci-fi horror films such as The Hidden or Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And this actor also appears again in another film higher on this list. None other than Keith David in They Live. Number 5 is cosmic horror whether you like the series or not. Season 4 is coming out next year and the character is still going strong, but especially if this is the last season, it's time for the show to kill off one of the main characters. But for now, we can still enjoy Caleb McLaughlin in Stranger Things. Alright, number 4. We are really getting down into it now. Another entry considered one of the best cosmic horror films ever made, but it totally tanked at the box office. This actor also has another film higher on this list as well, but this one is his only hardcore horror role. He has 128 acting credits going back to 1972, as well as numerous awards, so it pisses me off that he wasn't even mentioned in the documentary. the fabulous, the amazing, the one and only Laurence Fishburne in Event Horizon. And Richard T. Jones was in the film as well, but I don't remember how things turned out for anyone except for Laurence Fishburne and Sam Neill. Number 3 is the Predator franchise. Yes, it can be considered light on the horror aspects, but it's about alien monsters hunting humans. Call it gory sci-fi. It's a big universe, and the cosmic horror subgenre is pretty thin. But since this list is about black actors and cosmic horror films, the entire franchise delivers. You'll have to forgive me. The last 2 entries in the series were mediocre, so I don't remember who lives or dies in those. But in The Predator 2018, we have Trevante Rhodes, Keegan-Michael Key, Sterling K. Brown, and Brian A. Prince as the Predator. In Predators 2010, we have Mahershala Ali, and in his second appearance on this list, Laurence Fishburne as Ronald Noland, solitary U.S. soldier who has survived on the Predator planet for 10 hunting seasons. Unfortunately, he goes mad and tries to kill the other humans and is then killed by a predator. In Predator 2, 1990, we have Calvin Lockhart, Kevin Peter Hall returning from the first film to reprise his role as the Predator, and once again, another great actor ignored by the documentary, Danny Glover. And in the original Predator, 1987, the aforementioned Kevin Peter Hall, the highly talented Bill Duke, and of course, Carl motherfucking Weathers. Number 2 was the only film on this list that was also in the documentary. Before we get into that, I do want to make sure to mention the other black actor in the film, T.K. Carter. And even though there are numerous ways to define cosmic horror, this film is probably considered the best of them by a general viewing audience, and by a lot of the Lovecraft crowd as well. Though it is an ensemble cast, he is definitely second only to the top-billed Kurt Russell. He was also on this list in They Live, with 339 acting credits to his name. Once again, I give you the incredible Keith David in John Carpenter's The Thing. But what really elevates this film for our particular subject is that Keith David is the first black actor in cinematic history to survive a horror film. Now, the last on our list is number 1 for 2 reasons that puts it above all the others. First, there are 8 films in its franchise, and no matter how bad a single film might be, they will never stop making more of them. This thing is unstoppable. And number 2, the titular creature was designed by H.R. Giger, who was heavily inspired by H.P. Lovecraft. So much so that he named 2 of his art books Necronomicon 1 and 2. So if you haven't figured it out yet, number 1 is the Alien franchise. We'll go down the list of Alien films like we did with Predator. And like with the Predator series, my memory of the survival status of each cast member is a bit fuzzy. Alien Covenant 2017 starred Carmen Ejogo and racist ass clown Jussie Smollett. Prometheus 2012. What do you know? Look who slipped back onto the list a second time. I totally forgot Idris Elba was in this. And yes, the next 2 films are considered part of the Alien franchise. Aliens vs. Predator Requiem, 2007, featured Matt Ward, Sharika Epps, and Meshach Peters. Though Sharika and Meshach's characters were cut, they can be seen briefly in the background of the diner scene. Alien vs. Predator, 2004, starred Sanaa Lathan and Colin Salmon. Alien Resurrection, 1997, featured Gary Dordan, as well as actor and stunt performer Rodney Mitchell as Soldier with Glove. Alien 3, 1992, starred the extremely underrated Charles S. Dutton, who has 110 acting credits to his name, as well as veteran actor Leon Herbert. Aliens, 1986, featured Rico Ross, also a veteran actor, and the unforgettable Al Matthews as Sergeant Apone, who also reprised the role in the 2013 video game Aliens Colonial Marines, with additional voice work by Marcus Lloyd and Kimberly Brooks in the game. And last but not least, the one that started it all, Alien 1979, which starred the incredible Yaphet Kotto, who passed away this year at the age of 81. He also reprised his role in the 2014 video game Alien Isolation, with additional voice work by Richie Campbell in the game. And finally, the tall, skinny young man who brought the xenomorph to life, Nigerian actor Bolaji Badejo. So there you have it. And the next time someone says something stupid like, Lovecraft Country was a good show, or we're taking back cosmic horror from Lovecraft, you can share this video and tell them some of the best black actors to ever grace the silver screen already took care of it decades ago. So be sure to subscribe for more occult, horror, and Lovecraft madness. Until next time, Cthulhu Fatagan.